Breaking right now, Iran has lost control. Top security leader Ali Larijani killed in Israeli strike. Tehran mourns, vows strong revenge. War escalating fast, missiles flying, chaos everywhere. This is not a rumor. This is not speculation. This is a developing crisis that could change the entire trajectory of the Middle East conflict. Right now, in the streets of Tehran, in the war rooms of Tel Aviv, and in the capitals of every nation with stakes in regional stability, one question is being asked with increasing urgency. Has the conflict just crossed a point of no return? Welcome to Power Clash Report. We are interrupting our scheduled coverage because a report has just emerged that demands immediate attention. We are moving beyond the viral headlines and the emotional reactions to examine what actually happened, what the strategic stakes really are, and what Iran losing control could mean for the region, for global security, and for you. We will analyze verified reports from regional sources, official statements, expert assessments of Iranian leadership structures, and the historical context of targeted killings in this conflict. We will assess the military logic behind targeting a senior political figure, the psychological impact of such an event, and the potential for rapid escalation. And we will answer the question that matters most. Is this a calibrated strike designed to decapitate Iran's strategic decision-making, or a provocative act that could trigger an uncontrollable cycle of retaliation? Stay with me until the end, because understanding this story is not just about geopolitics. It is about the safety of millions of civilians, the stability of global energy markets, and the fragile mechanisms that keep conflict from consuming us all. Let us begin with the facts. Ali Larijani is not just another Iranian politician. He is a figure of immense stature within the Islamic Republic's power structure. A former Speaker of Iran's parliament, a longtime Secretary of the Supreme National Security Council, and currently a senior advisor to the Supreme Leader on International Affairs, Larijani represents the intersection of ideological commitment, institutional knowledge, and strategic influence. He is part of the conservative establishment, a key voice in shaping Iran's foreign policy, and a trusted confidant of the Supreme Leader. An attack targeting a figure of this caliber, if confirmed, would represent a profound escalation in the ongoing shadow war between Iran and Israel. On March 19, 2026, multiple social media channels and some regional news outlets reported that Ali Larijani had been killed in a targeted strike attributed to Israeli forces. The reports described an explosion in Tehran, possibly involving a precision munition or a covert operation, resulting in fatalities among senior Iranian officials. Iranian state media has reportedly confirmed the martyrdom of a high-ranking official and announced a period of national mourning. Statements from Iranian military and political figures have vowed strong revenge and promised that the blood of the martyr will not go unanswered. However, as of this recording, there has been no definitive on-the-record confirmation from the Iranian government explicitly naming Ali Larijani as the deceased, nor has any official Israeli source claimed responsibility for such an operation. Reputable international news agencies have not independently verified the identity of the casualty or the circumstances of the attack. This uncertainty is critical. In the fog of conflict, especially one characterized by information warfare, unverified claims can spread faster than facts. The attribution of such a significant event requires multiple credible sources, official statements from the Iranian government, confirmation from family or institutional representatives, forensic evidence, or intelligence assessments from neutral third parties. Until such verification is available, this report must be treated as unconfirmed. This is not skepticism for its own sake. It is responsible journalism in a high-stakes environment where misinformation can trigger real-world consequences. Now, let us examine the strategic implications if such an event were true. Targeting a senior political figure like Ali Larijani would represent a significant shift in escalation dynamics. Previous targeted killings in this conflict have primarily focused on military and scientific personnel, commanders of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, nuclear scientists, and drone program engineers. These targets, while significant, operate within the military technical domain. Targeting a senior political advisor with direct access to the supreme leader crosses a threshold into the political leadership sphere. The message would be clear. No one in Iran's decision-making apparatus is beyond reach. This is a strategy of decapitation, removing key nodes in the adversary's command and control network to degrade their ability to coordinate, strategize, and respond. But decapitation strategies carry profound risks. First, they can unify rather than fracture the targeted regime. The death of a senior figure can rally domestic support, silence internal dissent, and harden resolve against external adversaries. Second, they can trigger unpredictable retaliation. Iran has a long history of responding to targeted killings with asymmetric attacks, missile strikes, proxy operations, cyber campaigns, or covert actions against Israeli or allied targets globally. The vow of strong revenge is not empty rhetoric. It is a promise that will be expected to be fulfilled by hardline constituencies within Iran. Third, they can blur the lines between war and peace, creating a precedent for political assassination as a tool of statecraft. This erodes norms that have historically constrained interstate conflict, potentially making future crises more volatile and less manageable. Let us talk about the psychological dimension. The announcement of a senior leader's death, especially during a period of national mourning, is a powerful tool for mobilization. It can galvanize public opinion, justify escalatory measures, and create a narrative of victimhood that legitimizes retaliation. For Iran's leadership, framing Larijani as a martyr serves multiple purposes. It honors his service, rallies the population around the flag, and creates a moral imperative for response. For Israel, if it were responsible, the calculation would be different, degrading Iran's strategic capacity, demonstrating reach and resolve, and deterring future aggression. But psychological operations are double-edged swords. They can achieve short-term objectives while planting seeds for long-term escalation. Now, let us address the claim that Iran has lost control. This phrase suggests a regime in disarray, unable to protect its leadership or maintain internal stability. However, authoritarian regimes are often adept at managing crises of this nature. They can control information flows, mobilize security forces, and present a unified public face even amid internal turmoil. The appearance of chaos can be a strategic performance as much as a reflection of reality. Iran has faced significant internal challenges in recent years: economic hardship, social unrest, and political succession questions. But it has also demonstrated resilience and adaptability. To assume that a single event, however significant, would cause the regime to lose control is to underestimate its capacity for crisis management. Let us examine the regional implications. The Middle East is a complex web of alliances, rivalries, and proxy relationships. An escalation triggered by the killing of a senior Iranian figure could activate multiple fault lines. Hezbollah in Lebanon might increase rocket fire into Israel. Shia militias in Iraq could target U.S. bases. Houthi forces in Yemen might intensify attacks on shipping in the Red Sea. Each of these responses could trigger counter-responses, creating a cascade of violence that draws in multiple actors and expands the conflict geographically. Moreover, Gulf Arab states like Saudi Arabia and the UAE, which have sought to balance relations with both Iran and the West, could find themselves forced to choose sides in a rapidly polarizing environment. What about the global response? Major powers like the United States, China, and Russia have significant stakes in Middle East stability. The U.S. has security commitments to Israel and has previously conducted targeted killings in the region. China, as a major trade partner with Iran, may seek to mediate or at least avoid taking sides. Russia, which has its own energy interests and geopolitical rivalry with the West, may seek to exploit the situation to weaken Western unity. The United Nations Security Council would likely convene emergency sessions, but with permanent members holding divergent interests, meaningful collective action may be difficult. The international community would urge restraint, but without consensus on attribution or response, diplomatic efforts may struggle to gain traction. Let us talk about the human dimension. Behind every headline about targeted killings and vows of revenge are real people. Ali Larijani, if the reports are true, had a family, colleagues, and a legacy. The Iranian citizens mourning his death are not abstract political actors. They are individuals processing grief, fear, and uncertainty. In Israel, families of service members and civilians live with the reality that escalation could bring retaliation to their doorstep. And globally, communities with ties to the region worry about loved ones caught in the crossfire. The human cost of escalation is not abstract. It is measured in lives lost, in trauma endured, in the daily struggle for safety and dignity. At Power Clash Report, we commit to covering the strategy without losing sight of the stakes. We will verify before we amplify, and we will humanize before we politicize. There is also the information warfare dimension. In the digital age, narratives are weapons. The claim that Ali Larijani has been killed may serve multiple purposes for different actors. For hardliners in Tehran, it could justify severe retaliation and rally domestic support. For partisan media elsewhere, it could fuel anti-Iranian or anti-Israeli sentiment. For malicious actors, it could be an opportunity to sow discord, manipulate markets, or test information resilience. As consumers of information, our responsibility is to seek verification, consult credible sources, and resist the urge to share unconfirmed reports. This is not about censorship, it is about clarity. We will update this coverage as verified information emerges. Let us consider the potential paths forward. There are several scenarios. In the most contained, investigations reveal that the reports were exaggerated or misattributed, and the incident does not trigger wider retaliation. In a more escalatory scenario, Iran confirms the death of a senior figure, attributes it to Israel, and launches significant counterattacks, triggering a cycle of action and reaction that expands the conflict. In a diplomatic scenario, third-party mediators, perhaps Oman, Qatar, or the UN, intervene to de-escalate, using this incident as a catalyst for renewed dialogue. The outcome depends on intelligence assessments, political calculations, and the fragile mechanisms of crisis communication. What about the military dimension? If Iran chooses to retaliate, what capabilities might it employ? Iran possesses a diverse arsenal: ballistic missiles with ranges covering Israel and U.S. bases in the region, cruise missiles, drones, proxy networks, and cyber units. A strong revenge could involve coordinated strikes across multiple domains: missile barrages against Israeli military targets, drone attacks on critical infrastructure, cyber operations against financial or energy systems, or activation of proxy groups to strike allied interests globally. The challenge for Israeli and allied defenses is not just intercepting individual threats, but managing a multi-vector, multi-domain attack that aims to overwhelm through saturation and surprise. Now let us address the economic stakes. The Middle East is a linchpin of global energy security. Any escalation that threatens oil production, transportation, or trade routes can trigger immediate market reactions. Oil prices could spike, supply chains could be disrupted, and inflationary pressures could intensify worldwide. For consumers, this means higher prices at the pump, increased costs for goods and services, and broader economic uncertainty. For businesses, it means navigating volatile markets and potential disruptions to operations. For developing nations that rely on affordable energy imports, the risk is not just inflation, but social unrest. This is how a targeted killing in Tehran can affect your wallet, your job, and your community thousands of miles away. So, what can you do as an informed citizen? First, stay informed through credible sources. Follow official statements from governments, international organizations, and reputable news agencies. Be skeptical of viral claims that lack verification. Second, understand the broader context. This is not an isolated event. It is part of a complex, multi-layered conflict with deep historical roots and global ramifications. Third, engage constructively. Share verified information. Support humanitarian efforts for those affected by violence. Advocate for policies that prioritize diplomacy and civilian protection. At Power Clash Report, we believe that knowledge is power. Understanding geopolitical events helps us make better decisions, protect our families, and contribute to a more stable world. Before we conclude, let us recap the key points. Reports suggest that senior Iranian figure Ali Larijani may have been killed in a targeted strike attributed to Israeli forces. Iranian authorities have reportedly confirmed a martyrdom and vowed revenge, but definitive attribution and details remain unverified. If confirmed, this would represent a significant escalation in targeting methodology with profound strategic, psychological, and regional implications. The claim that Iran has lost control may overstate the regime's vulnerability, but reflects genuine concerns about escalation dynamics. The human, economic, and security stakes are substantial, affecting civilians, markets, and global stability. The path forward depends on verification, restraint, and responsible communication from all parties. The choice before the world's leaders is stark. They can allow fear and speculation to drive policy, risking a spiral of escalation, or they can rely on intelligence, verification, and strategic patience to manage crises without surrendering to panic. History will judge this moment not by the weapons fired, but by the wisdom with which they are answered. As citizens of an interconnected world, we have both the right and the responsibility to demand clarity over chaos, evidence over emotion, and truth over virality. If this analysis provided value, please like this video, subscribe to Power Clash Report, and share it with someone who needs to understand these developments. Turn on notifications so you do not miss our updates as this story evolves. In the description below, you will find links to official sources, fact-checking resources, and further reading on this developing situation. We are committed to bringing you signal in a world of noise. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay safe. And remember, in a world of increasing uncertainty, clarity is the most valuable asset we have.